Hey everyone, this is Ryder from Skip. It's Friday, February 26th. Very quick update on today's news and a recap of all the news that happened this week. Thanks so much for tuning in and subscribing. The biggest news of the day is that the House is going to vote on the $1.9 trillion stimulus package. We are awaiting action. We're following the live coverage here. We expect it soon. Plus, it was a big week for PPP and EIDL funding. PPP, it came out that independent contractors can get more money. If you haven't applied yet and received funds, watch this video because you may be eligible for more PPP funding. EIDL news, the targeted emails continue to go out. Around 70% of you are still waiting for that targeted EIDL email, but the good news was that there was more progress this week. I'll share the latest info there. Overall, the economy shows signs of recovering. Even though the S&P closed down on the week, many tech stocks were down, but many of the other income and spending signs are positive. COVID cases are down too. Finally, the most interesting news of the day is this new bill that's been introduced called the Hospitality and Commerce Job Recovery Act that will pay you to travel. Seriously, I'm going to talk about that. It's just been introduced. Thanks as always for subscribing, turning on notifications, and be sure to watch until the end because I will also talk about our giveaway on Monday and how to enter to be eligible for one of 10 $100 grants. Let's start on the big news of the day, the $1.9 trillion stimulus. The House is expected to vote on it tonight. We're following it here. They are currently in recess, but by the time you see this video, they may have passed it. It's on the schedule here, HR 1319, the American Rescue Plan of 2021. So we're going to follow that and see what happens, but we don't expect much fuss. The big question remains on the minimum wage, the $15 an hour minimum wage bump. That would be the first minimum wage bump since 2009 when it was increased to $7.25. The proposal in this bill is $15 an hour national minimum wage. However, it came out last night that technically you may not be able to include this in the budget reconciliation process, which is what Democrats are going to use to pass this stimulus bill. So we still need to wait and see what happens there and understand if the minimum wage will get in the stimulus package. Otherwise, we've got $1,400 stimulus checks, $15 billion for more EIDL grants, more small business assistance, funding for schools, states, cities. Obviously, there's a lot in this. 1.9 trillion is a lot of money. As I mentioned yesterday, that's more than every country's GDP except for 5 countries. Democrats are looking to get this signed into law by middle of March. That would allow continuance of the current unemployment benefits. Monday is March 1st, so basically the hope is that it would get passed in the Senate next week. Biden would be able to sign it into law a few days after that. PPP news from this week, in case you missed it, independent contractors will get higher PPP loans with new rules. This is on our app. Let me just tell you the main takeaway here, that you will be able to use your gross income instead of the net income on your Schedule C form. That's a big deal for many of you. You had negative numbers on line 31 on your Schedule C. Now you don't have to use that line. That's because that's the net after expenses. Now you can use gross income. You can apply now, as in today. However, officially, this will go live on Monday, but if you want to apply and you're still waiting for PPP, go to pppbonus.com. That goes to the Funding Circle application. They've told us a few times they are speeding things up and they're ready to help you. EIDL news, the news from the week was that more people were getting emails from the SBA to check their portal and fill out their 4506T, that's the tax authorization form. This email went out to people who had already applied for the targeted EIDL grant. Basically, the order of operations is this. Number 1, the SBA emails you an invitation to apply for a targeted EIDL advance. You fill it out. Number 2, the SBA will ask you to update your tax authorization form on the SBA portal. So those are the 2 steps. Many of you are still waiting for that email. We expect more to come. There's a couple batches we heard. So they did a big batch this month. We expect a lot more in March, especially, in my opinion, because they still have plenty of funding left. You know, we look at the data and we kind of have a sense of how many people have been invited. There's still plenty of money left in the pot, so I hope that they ramp things up starting next week. All of you patiently waiting get invites. That's my hope. For those of you following the stock market, you know, the week did end down. This is a look at the S&P graph. There was a dip earlier in the week, but it recovered at the end of the day. But today it ended down, and part of this was due to higher interest rates on Treasury bonds. Those interest rates increased. So the theory goes that many people were thinking, well, I may as well get some bonds if I'm going to get good interest rates on that. It's basically guaranteed money. It's as guaranteed money as it gets. and that's what caused the market to dip. So we'll see what happens next week. I'd love to hear in the comments too if you'd like me to cover more stock related information. Always happy to hear. Overall, some of the economic signs are good. So before I talk about this proposed legislation that would basically pay you money to travel, I want to share the 3 pieces of overall good news from this week, besides the PPP and EIDL stuff I just mentioned. Number 1, positive vaccine news. The FDA said the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is effective, and a board today said they would recommend the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. This is a one-shot vaccine. It's likely that this will get approved in the next few days, if not by Monday. That's the first piece. The second piece is this chart here. Cases continue to go down. Although we flattened here a little bit, this is the first flat line in a few weeks, so I hope folks aren't getting complacent. Overall, over the past 14 days, we are down a third. That's still good. I hope this trend doesn't continue to go up at all. And the third piece is that income and spending gains are the latest sign of economic recovery. Unemployment claims yesterday were down. People have more savings. So all of these are good signals. I would love to hear in the comments how your business is doing, if you have a small business, or if you're an independent contractor, how that work is going. I'm going to do another poll next week about this as well, but I'm always curious to hear from you. Rather than the macro picture, we always want to hear what's happening in reality with you, the folks watching this channel and supporting us. How are you doing? I'd love to hear in the comments. Before I end this video and talk about Monday's giveaway, we just put this post up on the blog based on this bill that was introduced. It's called the Hospitality and Commerce Job Recovery Act of 2021, and the takeaway is the U.S. government may pay you to travel. A new bill introduced today may allow Americans to get tax credits for domestic travel in an effort to jumpstart the country's ailing travel industry. It was introduced by a bipartisan group of senators from both coasts. Travel and hospitality advocates are hopeful the bill will pass. Basically, the credit would allow you to deduct 50% of your travel costs for domestic U.S. travel, up to $1,500 for Americans earning less than $75,000 per year. Above the $75K threshold, it would taper off. Basically, another form to get people spending money. Again, the bill was just proposed. This is brand new news, but if you want to read more about it, it's on our app. You can read about what expenses would be allowed, what counts as domestic travel, and what else the bill includes. Finally, to end today's video and the week, Monday we're going to pick 10 folks to give away $100 grants to. This is based on your vote from yesterday. Around 1,000 of you voted, and there's a clear winner. 49% of you said you support the $100 checks. That basically means more of you have a chance at winning something. Something is better than nothing. So 10 of you watching are going to get picked on Monday. All you have to do is subscribe to this channel. So hit subscribe, turn on alerts, and download our free app. It is Hello Skip in the App Store, link right in the description. It takes 2 seconds to download and log in. You can also go to trackeidlgrant.com to get the app, and you'll get a $10 credit if you do that as well. So that's today's news. As always, thank you so much for subscribing and supporting us. Stay well, stay healthy, have a great weekend, and I'll see you tomorrow.